Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are here with episode 49.
49.
Wow. Getting up there in the numbers.
Yeah, we've had seven episodes.
Yes.
What?
7
Math.
times 7.
Oh,
49.
gotcha.
This is correct.
Counting.
Yes.
Next week's our anniversary episode.
Yes.
50.
Yep. Our 50th anniversary.
Yep. As Adrian always calls it.
Yep.
It's our 50th, anniversary episode.
You never say the comma.
No.
It's implied.
You can't just imply.
As is all punctuation.
Yeah, but when you go 50th anniversary, there's no implied comma in there. If anything, there's a hyphen that's implied.
It's because every week this episode feels like a year off my life.
Yeah, okay. I'd buy that.
Yeah. Feels like 50 years.
Jeff was a young man when we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Still had
He's
gray
aged
hair, though.
considerably.
No, yeah, absolutely. The gray hair still exists.
Yep.
Will always exist.
Yep.
So we'll just get this out of the way. I hear you guys have been playing some PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up, Adrian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very kind of you.
We played Saturday.
We did.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
With a bunch of my friends. I don't think we still haven't gotten one again.
No, we got 2.
Yeah.
Who was the last one in that one? Was it me?
I don't remember.
Or was it one of the ones where my computer was like, you can't load one texture for whatever reason, so I'm just going to close this game
Then we
down.
shot you dead and looted your body.
Yes. You didn't hit me with a pan? I thought that was quieter.
I think the second time it happened, we panned you to death.
Okay.
But the first time, we definitely shot you to death.
Gotcha. Did you get anything good off me? I think I had some good stuff both times.
And then later, I was like, let's not waste the bullets. And then I think I was playing with my friend Eric yesterday, and we got number 2. It was only 3 people left alive. It was one dude, but he fucking sniped us and killed us both.
Yeah.
It was tense. Should have gone camping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was so intense.
It was.
God damn it.
Puntastic. You didn't see that coming?
No, I didn't actually. He snuck that one by me.
He didn't see the trailhead for it.
God damn it, Zach. And the camping is intense is like one of my favorite puns. It's a great t-shirt. I don't own it because I don't own shitty punny t-shirts. But if I was going to own a shitty punny t-shirt, it would be camping is intense.
Yeah.
So you hear that, Jeff? Birthday. Boom.
Boom.
Done. 2. You're going to get 2.
I thought you were saying like I should have gone camping. Like you should have like camped out in the game. Like and
I mean, he was
got
also
killed.
doing that.
I was also doing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Worked on multiple levels.
In the middle of a forest.
Yeah.
No less.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was hiding behind a tree.
As you were
Anyhow,
wont to do. Yeah.
board games.
Yeah.
Because that's what this podcast is ostensibly about.
I guess.
I mean, it's not in the name. It's just game guys.
Board gaming podcast.
Yeah, but it's Mile High Game. Yeah. We don't. No one cares about the after colon.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Let's take it out of there.
Yeah.
Year 2, gone.
Yeah. Just Mile High Game guys.
Yep. I played games for once.
You did?
At board game night.
I think you played more games than me.
Yeah. We were at Fiction Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
I played that game we talked about that we had not played before.
Deception?
Deception, a Murder in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I'd played that a couple times.
Yeah.
I didn't play it at game night.
First time I had played it.
First time for me, too.
What'd you guys think?
It was really good. It was short and succinct
Yes.
and fun. Like trying to guess what everyone had and accusing people and the forensic investigator like putting down little clues and stuff on the board to try and thin things out. Except when they put like strangulation, I had a plastic bag and everyone's like, "You're the murderer," and I was like, "Well, I'm not." But
That's when you're like, well, clearly a plastic bag would be suffocation, not strangulation.
yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, it depends on what the medical term for it is, I guess.
Asphyxiation, maybe.
Maybe that's
That
what
wasn't
it
a
was.
choice.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Were you the?
But it was
No,
like,
I
but it
was
was like
just
a
a-
wire and a sponge or something.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
I wasn't that big a fan of it.
no.
I would probably need to play it a couple more times to figure it out. Just that one feels heavily dependent on having a good investigator.
Yes.
And if you don't, it's like they give you clues that are very vague and not helping at all.
Yeah.
But like
and then
that's
you just sort of feel like you're just sort of making random guesses in the wind.
I mean, but that's kind of how Codenames feel sometimes.
Yeah.
And I really like Codenames.
I don't know.
You have more freedom of clues to give in Codenames.
Yes.
where
This is true.
This is pretty limited to like 6 different options for
Yeah.
like place, like
Yeah, that's a good point.
Cause of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. You guys play anything else? I know you guys got some new games.
We
Did you get to
did.
play them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we played Tiny Epic Galaxies Beyond the Black. We got
Yes.
the expansion for that. Jeff, Bob, and I all got our expansion on the same day. It's pretty nice. And so we had a 4-player game going, and Bob had a 5-player game going at game night.
Yep. It was all over the place.
Yes, it was. I enjoyed it a lot. So this one added pilots.
Yes.
And there were unique wooden ships to sort of signify which pilots you were using. And each of those pilots had unique abilities, and some of them were pretty crazy. Like Jeff had one that if you were in unexplored space with that pilot, you just get a culture at the end of your turn. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, well, you're fucking staying here the entire game.
Yep.
Just getting free culture every turn is really nice.
The monk.
Yes. And it also added unexplored space, which is a spot that everybody can go to. And it also means that the base, like in the base game, you always have a way to get energy from your own galaxy, your home galaxy. This one gives you a way to always get culture. And
Right
that's, which is nice because culture is paramount in this game. And watching somebody not have culture is just like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to pet him. I'm sorry, buddy.
Culture is important.
Yes. So unexplored space gives you a push your luck element and a sort of set collection element because it has different tiles that come up, and some are good and some are bad. And you can choose, you flip one over and you can choose that one, or you can continue going unless it's a red one, which you have to take the red one. Then they're usually bad. They're like black holes, supernovas, asteroid belts and stuff like that. Other time it's like you discover alien life or a dwarf planet and stuff like that. And then they have one of 4 different symbols on there, and sometimes more than one of the symbols. And then at the end of the game, whoever has the most of each symbol gets extra points. So it adds more end game scoring, which I think that game desperately needed, because it's just like in the base game, it's just, you get either 2 or 3 extra points. But this one, it's like technically you could have up to 8 or 9 extra points at the end of the game, depending on which ones you get. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, because having the most of a certain type of that symbol was
2 points.
2 points.
And then 1 point if you had the second most. And then,
okay.
Yeah. And so, like, Jeff, you got a lot from those, right?
Yeah, because pilots, like we were mentioning before, are super awesome. I got a pilot that when they explore, they can ignore all of the bad stuff on those red cards. Because a lot of times those red cards will be like, you have to now orbit that planet with that ship, and you have to complete it with the economic or diplomacy before you can even get that ship back. I get the red card, and then I just get it. I ignore all the bad stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that's how that card worked.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it seemed how it worked.
Yeah.
And then there are just new planets and stuff that they made too, obviously. But and new secret objectives. And it worked really well. I ended up ending the game early because I was like, if I end it now, I think I have a chance of not letting everybody else get 7 more points. Because it finishes out the round. Mm-hmm. But because you can follow other people's turn, you can make it, even though I was the first player, I made it on the second to last player's turn. I ended the game there. So it was only that the second to last player and then the last player's turn to do stuff.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I was like, if I end it now, and it sucked because my secret objective was having the same amount of diplomacy and economy planets. And I had that. But then I was like, well, if I get this planet early, thus losing my secret objective, I can end the game 1 turn early. And that'll fuck up a lot of other people's plans, which it did. And I won.
I didn't roll very well for my one planet I was trying to get the whole game.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get any economy out, which sucked. Because I had another pilot that was, you can't pass this pilot on this planet. That means that planet's mine, and there's nothing you people can do about it.
So I think I was actually thinking about this later, and I was talking with Bob. Because there's one planet that can make you move from 4 on one planet to 4 the next one.
Yeah.
I think you would be able to surpass your pilot with that because you're not
Possibly.
You're not going past it. You're just moving to it.
Yeah.
But then if you ever caught up to that person, then they couldn't.
Yeah.
So,
But I couldn't get the one planet.
No, you couldn't.
Anyways, so.
Yeah. And it would have won you the game had you got it.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, because I had the Hermit, which was own fewest planets, and at 0, I definitely had the fewest.
Yes, you did.
And then I would have won by 1 point because it was worth 7 points.
Yep. But
Cool.
instead, he tied for last.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Quite a swing.
I was not last. I just tied for last.
Yeah, you tied for last. But yeah, I think it definitely added some time to the game.
But all the time that it did add was quality.
Yes. And one thing I really like about that game is that even on your turn, you need to pay attention to what other people are doing because of the follow mechanism.
Yeah.
That you can always be like, ooh, well, this actually, because most of your gameplay is on other people's turns. So, in my opinion, at least.
Then we played Honshu.
Yes, we did.
I think I was drunk when we played that.
Probably, yeah.
But I did well.
Yes.
It's a fun game.
Honshu is a city building / trick taking game.
Yeah.
And so, Adrian, we played it at Geekway with 3 players.
Right. Yep.
And then on Wednesday, Jeff and I played it with another player. I wanted to play with more. Yes, it was Bob. And I really like that game a lot.
It's pretty clever. I wanted to play it again now that I know that water needs to be contiguous.
Yes.
Because I didn't realize that for half of the last game that we played.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like the game you taught, like something about the way it was explained, I thought like it was just like total water tiles.
Gotcha.
Biggest lake.
I made a huge, usually I try and make a big ass fucking city in that. 25 points I've gotten, I think, when I played with you. But I only had a 16-point city this time, but I got 21 points for my giant ass lake right next to the city. It was pretty nice.
It's impressive.
Cool.
Yeah. I really like the fact, I really want to play with more players. But
definitely.
I do like that you're bidding with the actual cards that you want to place down on, because they're numbered anywhere from 1 to 60, and when everybody places a card down, which whoever's card has the highest number is now first to choose out of all the cards. Because even if 2 is a really nice card, you place it down, and someone who played a 50 that maybe it wasn't as good for them, they're like, ooh, that 2 looks pretty good. I'm just going to take that. And you're like, God damn it, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
It seems a lot of the times with 3 players at least that you tend to just choose your own card.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Unless it's like a really good card.
Yeah, we had a little bit more in the game with me, Jeff, and Paul than the one that you and I did, Adrian, where we were taking other people's. But most of the time I was like, oh, I'm going to play this, and then I'm just going to take it. But I really like how you have to cover, because the cards have the pictures of the city that you're adding to it. And so you have to cover something, either what part of the card that you were playing now or a previous card. And so I really I remember at some point Jeff was just moving this card around 20 times. I just need to fucking find some place for this to fit where it doesn't fuck me over.
Right.
And I do like you were saying, that lakes, lakes can't be covered. So if you have something with a lake, that has to go out. And then so you want to try and link as much of those lakes as you can. And so you tend to cover a lot of the cards with lakes on them so that you can connect more and more lakes. Mm-hmm. So we didn't play with the special objective cards.
No, I don't think so. Not when we played at Geekway.
And we didn't play with Jeff either. But I definitely want to try those at some point because they can change. Because normally the desert squares are useless, but one of the special objectives is if you make a 2x2 square, it's worth 5 points. That's pretty big, and so it can make the value of certain things a lot better.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. I didn't play much game night. We tried to learn Hocus, but one of the players had no idea how to play anything related to poker at all, and so that was making it very hard to explain the concepts.
It always boggles my mind something that there are still people that don't know
just basic
poker or just those hands.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys still exist?
Well, she got the hands, especially because there's the nice cheat sheet card.
Okay, yeah.
The thing she wasn't understanding is essentially having the community and then having your pocket cards and then making the best hand of 5, using those, but those are available for everybody.
Yeah.
Like that, specifically the Hold'em style poker concept wasn't clicking.
Gotcha. I've met someone who couldn't even really for whatever reason straights and flushes they just couldn't get that.
That's bizarre. Flushes I could see.
What's a high card?
It's a 2, right? It's nice and clean.
Yeah. But so we called that pretty early. We had some rules questions that we weren't finding in that rule book that were totally in the rule book because Zach found them right away.
Yes.
And I showed it to him later. But so we called that because it was rapidly becoming very unfun for her and not much fun for the rest of us. And so we called that. And then I ended up playing Grifters, which I haven't played since
Gen Con, basically.
Basically Gen
Bicycle
Con,
Cafe?
shortly thereafter Gen Con. I liked it. It was good getting it back to the table. It's definitely really light, and it's not always super balanced. There's definitely...
Fucking femme fatale.
So she's actually... this game was not very powerful. because people did a much better job of using other cards that can either copy her effect so that they could just be doing it too, or straight up stealing her so that then she's not in your thing anymore.
Yeah.
Because, even if you like chain it with a couple of the other cards to where she moves like the last space, like it's hard to get her played and all the way to the reserve or the refresh pile. So she's out there, and there's a bunch of cards that let you steal and affect the people's card order.
Right.
And I think in this game, people did a much better job of kind of mitigating her. It's still the jobs themselves, I think, are a little misbalanced. Like if you get a lucky hand where you can complete the blue jobs like pretty quickly, then you can kind of start to run away, because the blue jobs are like, complete this and then draw 2 specialists. And it's like, oh, well, now I've got enough to complete another job and then another job. And then, oh, that original group's back. I can do another blue and get more people.
Yeah,
it's kind of, that can snowball.
Yeah, you can definitely snowball in this game.
I've played it in a while.
Yeah, but I did enjoy playing it again. It was nice to get it back.
Did you play with the full 4 players?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did. Which I'd pretty much always want to play it, I think, with the full 4. I don't think it'd be nearly as fun otherwise.
How did you do in that game?
Everybody thought I was winning, and so they kind of targeted
Dogpiled
me.
you, yeah.
Yeah, and so then I ended up, I think I got second.
Okay.
Not by much. Like we figured, like I thought it was going to last one more round. And so I did basically like steal a little bit of money from everybody instead of taking the final objective, which would have ended the game. Whereas then we were looking at if I had done, or no, I did the swap an objective.
Right.
So I traded one of mine with somebody else's to complete a set. Whereas if I had just taken the last job, it ultimately would have denied Andrew, who won, it would have denied him enough points that I would have ended up winning. So once again, I am my own worst enemy in board games. But yeah, that ended up being all I played at game night. I really wasn't feeling it, so I took off kind of early.
Couldn't get Indonesia to the table, huh?
No, I could not get Indonesia to the table.
to the game night table? I'm shocked.
To the Wednesday game night table. No Indonesia. I did get to play Indonesia, though. I went up, and this is the first month where I'm actually going to be able to participate, I think, in all of the Friday night game nights at Heavy Cardboard with Edward and Amanda and them. And so, like, basically what they're doing is Friday nights and Monday evenings, each month, the people who are involved vote on a game to play. And so that's like the game of the month. And you play that game, 3 or 4 times in a row. And it's basically, they were having kind of the same issue we've talked about before, where like you get stuck always trying to play like the next game for the show or like the new hotness or whatever. And you don't really get to dive deep into games. And so they wanted to dive deep into games. So they started the weekly game night thing where they'd pick one and do that one game of the month. And so Indonesia is the game of the month for June here. And so I should get to play Indonesia quite a bit. Looking forward to it.
I'm sure you are. Are you going to try and drag Paul to it?
I'm not even going to have to drag Paul. He wants to come.
Okay.
So I got to make sure I'm allowed to +1 it up. I was a little sad I couldn't go Saturday.
You don't want to go stag, do you?
Right. I didn't get to go Saturday, but they did High Frontier 3rd edition, which
I saw that. I saw a picture, and every time I look at it, my eyes are just like, no. What? Why are you looking at this board? That is just too many things. There's just too many things on that board.
Oh man, it looks interesting.
You haven't played it yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Let me know how much I wouldn't like that game.
See, I actually could end up seeing you liking that game. I don't know. Sometimes you surprise me what you like and don't like on the more Euro-y medium to heavyweight side of things. So, but that's been my gaming. We did get Hocus back to the table later on the weekend, and it went pretty well. Paul crushed at it, which
that's too many. It's too many.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
How this board.
We're looking at a picture of High Frontier right now.
I had not seen a picture of High Frontier.
I don't know how this board. Period.
I don't know how to board game.
Yeah, that's Phil Eklund for you.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be like a simulator,
it's basically,
right?
yeah.
That's where it might kill me. Is that?
It sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool, but then I think I don't know. Let me know how it is.
It's only got a complexity rating of 4.77
out of 5.
Out of 5.
That's it. That's only a 94 out of 100. So
it's
95.
It's plays 1 to 4 and is currently best at none.
What's the time on that?
180 minutes.
Somebody's quite trolling.
Yeah.
So I'll let you guys know when I get a chance to play that.
3rd edition's still pretty new, so.
Yeah. But that wraps up, I think, what I've been playing. Anything else you guys wanted to add?
Blood Bowl.
Oh, yeah, Bloody Minute.
Was played. I've gotten back-to-back Blood Bowl games in because we're trying to catch up with the rest of the season. I played against the Drakenhof Dynamo, which is a Necro team with my De War bosses, which are orcs. Brutal, this game was. Yoda would say. He's got Necro or Weird. They're sort of undead. They've got like Frankensteins and werewolves. And then they've got zombies, wights, and ghouls. And then the wights and ghouls have like enough agility where they can pick up the ball and move it. And then the werewolves are fucking movement 8 and have claw. Claw will just turn your armor to 7. No matter what your armor is. Could be 10, 15, doesn't matter. 7. All I have to do is beat a 7. Thankfully, he did not beat a 7 very much that game. He received the ball, then scored. Thankfully, I took a KO, knocked out, turn 1. Knocked out one of my Black Orcs, which are one of my nice Strength 4 guys. Went through the rest of that half pretty painfully. I ended up surrounding the ball, but then he was able to just get right in there and pick it up. Unlucky me. Then in the second half, I trudged the ball slowly down the field to tie the game 1-1. My Orc thrower sucks bad. He has a skill called Sure Hands, where he can re-roll to pick up the ball. You need a 3+ to pick up the ball, and you can re-roll it. Failed it the first time, and then it's turnover. Didn't pick up the ball.
Right.
And then his werewolves were like, oh, okay, and then like ran within like 3 spaces of my thrower that was trying to pick up the ball, and I was like, I am fucked.
Probably.
Thankfully, my blitzers were in the backfield and able to get in front of his werewolves.
Well, that's good.
I was able to build a cage, you would call it. It's just where you put kind of like a 5 on a 6-sided die.
Yeah.
Balls right in the middle to protect the ball carrier all the way to the end of the field. Ended up tying 1-1, which was way better than I thought it was going to be.
That's good.
It was a very close, almost a 2-0. So I'm thankful for my 1-1 tie.
Did any casualties on either side?
I did get 2 casualties. One of his zombies, but of course zombies regenerate. I gave him a serious injury, ripped his head off, but he put it back on and went back into the reserves. His ghoul, however, ghouls are not undead, and I gave him a serious injury of -1 strength. And so
that's
goodbye, rough. Ghoul.
Yep.
He is retired, that player. He got 0 casualties. Hooray me! Yeah. It was 2-0 casualties. So I doubled as many casualties as I got last game. Next week is my bye week, so not playing. And then David and the...
Is he Chaos Dwarf still?
He is Plague. God damn it. I want to say Plague Marines because the new 8th edition of Warhammer is on my brain.
Plague Marines.
Yeah.
Huh.
Nurgle Chaos Warriors.
Okay.
And then Ant with his Chaos Dwarves will finish out my season in about 3 weeks.
That sounds rough.
It will be.
Do you think you have a chance of getting to the playoffs?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to end up right in the middle. I'm currently a game ahead of everyone. Everyone's sort of still playing this week. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. I'm third, but I have 4 games in and everyone else only has 3. So,
and then you have your bye week. And then,
yep. So I'll probably end up right dead center.
Okay.
Fingers crossed, at least.
It is much better than Jeffy territory, at least.
Yes, I probably won't get the Jeffy, but I might have to get ejected into the Vault next season, which is there's the Darklands and there's the Vault. And then the Darklands is all like the high tier teams, and then the Vault is everyone else.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that how you decided to split up the conferences or whatever?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So our conferences will change based on how well we did. It's currently Paul in first place, Ant in second place.
Doesn't he have the same team as you?
He has orcs, but his orcs are building a little differently.
Oh, okay.
He's put a lot more guard on his blitzers, which I don't agree with, because I don't want my blitzers to be standing next to or in the middle of them for a period of time that I need the guard. I want my black orcs, which are my big strength dudes that need to be on the front line, to just stand there and be guard guys.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Paul needs to stop being first in so many games, just in general.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm nodding vigorously over here.
Yes.
I'm sure they can hear it.
Not very vigorous.
Yeah, Paul's like 2 wins, 1 draw. So he's got the best in the league right now.
Okay, cool.
Yep. That's it. That's Blood Bowl.
That's Blood Bowl.
Yep.
And that's what we've been playing. And Banter and all of that other fun stuff. So we can move on to some news and Kickstarters, I suppose.
Yes. News or mostly Kickstarters. We'll start off with what I consider the biggest news of the week.
So much for bearing the lead.
Yeah.
That's not Jeff's go-to.
Asmodee has decided to go with an exclusive distributor alliance for all of their games in North America.
And that includes Fantasy Flight, Days of Wonder, Asmodee, Z-Man Games, Plaid Hat, and Catan Studio. It's a lot of games.
It is a lot of games.
Effective August 1st.
And it's a multi-year as well.
Yep. So that means anyone that wants to order any of those games has to go through that one distributor, which is kind of annoying for everyone except distributor.
Yes. Pretty much the only people it's not annoying for are the people that just use that distributor for whatever reason before.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of other, like the retail stores, they'll start getting discounts from the distributors if they start using them a lot. And for these games, they have to go through this one.
Yep.
Which sucks.
Yes. It's sort of monopolistic actions happening, which is kind of a bummer. Because last week's news was all of our prices need to be within 20% of MSRP, and now you can only sell through this one distributor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's starting to get a bit like they started buying up more and more studios, and I was like, okay, it's like Disney when they started buying up a lot of stuff. It worked for the best in my opinion because that's Marvel and Pixar and them. They got to have all that creative freedom.
Well, except now Pixar's dying. Pixar's quality has plummeted over the last 4 years.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't watched a Pixar movie in that long.
Their quality is going down in a hurry.
Inside Out was really good.
It was.
Inside Out was good. Inside Out was also like 3 years ago.
It's fine.
Not 3 years ago.
Inside Out's still good.
It is still good.
Yep. Anyway.
Gonna fucking prove you wrong.
But yeah, I mean, and this is a trend like you see, kind of in brewing with Anheuser-Busch buying up all the breweries. And
2 years ago, motherfucker.
Jesus Christ. With Anheuser-Busch buying up a bunch of breweries and things, and then also buying the distribution networks. So not only do they own a significant portion of the brewing hobby, they or not just the hobby side of it, the brewing industry, they increasingly own the distributors, which kind of influence what gets put on shelves. And I don't know. I don't like the idea of a company that has skin in that game, like the production side of things, having a say in the distribution side of things.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like that gets to be problematic because then it's a little bit different here where they sign an exclusive agreement with a distributor versus like Anheuser-Busch that just straight up owns a bunch of distributors,
right?
But still, like at that point, you get to unduly influence what games get seen and what games get purchased, and therefore who gets to keep making games.
I've also heard that Alliance is a pretty garbage distributor, at least compared to the other ones too.
Yeah.
So this is something similar. What reminded me of this was comic books in the 90s, which I'm not an expert on, but someone is, and I'm reading sort of what they had posted about it. I am somewhat of a comic book enthusiast, so in the 90s, Marvel was doing the same stuff. They were buying up competitors, manipulating prices, going exclusive with a distributor, and then Marvel's antics crashed the comic book industry. Destroyed the distribution center, put hundreds of comic book stores out of business. I'm sure you've heard of how hard it is to keep a comic book store running. I mean, it was even worse in the 90s.
Oh, I'm sure.
But they ratcheted up the prices for everything by doing all of this. So a lot of people were just like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm not buying comic books anymore. And that could be something that would happen to board gaming. But the one thing that is slightly different is the bubble of comic books was not as solid as probably the bubble in board games is. There's a lot more it's not just, think of how many comic book publishers you can think of and how many board gaming publishers you can think of. It's definitely a lot more.
There's a lot more variety. You can still, and there are ones like Cool Mini and that have started to rise up in terms of being just being more well known.
Yeah, but I mean, Cool Mini is rapidly becoming CMON now. They're not even really Cool Mini anymore. CMON, they have kind of they're rising up to be in my mind, like they're getting to be the Coors to Asmodee's Anheuser-Busch. Like they're both still monsters who are buying up tons of other properties and doing things that I'm not necessarily a huge fan of business-wise. Like, yeah, I get like a business's main goal is to make money. Like, yeah, I get that. I'm a fan of capitalism. But I think that you can make money while not doing shitty business practices, and that's the preferable way to go about it. So...
Yeah, and the comic book industry had crazy overinflation and stuff like that. Like, I mean, Remember when X-Men #1 came out and there was like 7 different covers for it, and then they did that for every issue going out there? It was way too much and like over speculation and stuff like that.
Yeah. Comics have the benefit of being much more reasonably priced. Like, I mean, board game prices are continuing to increase.
Yeah.
I mean, Mansions of Madness dropped at $100.
Yes.
MSRP. Same thing for Star Wars Rebellion. Like, these are huge MSRPs that are increasingly in economic hard times going to be one of the first things people start to cut. So like it doesn't need to be as big of a bubble.
I can play all of those other games that I spent $100 on instead of buying new games.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Gil Hova had an article he wrote on his blog a while back about gamer fatigue and how, like the typical trend is somebody gets into the hobby, they kind of go nuts, they buy a shit ton of games their first few years, and then they start to get that point where it's like, I've got hundreds of games that I don't play. Why do I need to get the newest and the coolest, at all times? And you kind of transition to maybe trying to play some of those old, really great games that have stood the test of time rather than take a gamble on a $120 Kickstarter, and it's potentially worrying. I think that the parallels that you made there to the comic book industry are apt.
Yeah. Also, Alliance is a subsidiary of Diamond Distributions, who is the main comic book distributor.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep. So Diamond owns Alliance. Diamond is comic books. Alliance is board games.
I like that one of the things Asmodee cited a significant investment by Alliance to communicate, support, and allocate Asmodee products, which I think the significant investment was probably largely cash.
Yeah, probably.
If they have a parent company of Diamond, Diamond does literally, I think, all comic book distribution in North America, so they probably got some money to throw around.
Yeah.
And that's it about that.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I was reading some more of the news report on it.
How much better the board gaming industry will be because of this, one decision.
Yeah, it says it will provide hobby games retailers with the support and inventory they need to successfully grow their business selling Asmodee's games. Implying that if you're not growing your business with Asmodee games, you can go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it.
So, Anyway, next bit of news.
Remember those Spiel nominations?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Raiders of the North Sea is coming in English from Renegade Game Studios. Got picked up.
Yeah. Which I remember seeing this a little while ago. Like the board, when I looked at it, I was like, it looks familiar. And then I looked a little bit more. And that the reason why is because this was a Kickstarter in 2015. So it's a couple years old, which...
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
It's interesting that it's just now getting its Kenner Spiel nomination. But this is one I do vaguely remember being vaguely interested in. Vikings are kind of hot right now.
It's true.
And this one's kind of interesting. You choose...
The Vikings are so hot right now.
That was exactly what I was going for. You start off like initially so you can choose basically on your turn to work or raid, and your first few turns you basically have to work because you don't have the raiding forces built up. And so like later on in the game you get to a point where it's like, well, do I work to keep building my raiding force a little bit bigger for maybe bigger rewards, or do I just raid now to like be ahead of everybody? And I don't know, seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm interested in checking some more out on it.
Hopefully it doesn't immediately sell out.
I'm sure it will.
When it may or may not win that nomination.
Right. I think Terraforming Mars is going to get the Kenner Spiel.
Fingers crossed.
That's where my money is.
I mean,
Zach has literally every finger possibly crossed with all of his other fingers.
Yes.
It's either Raiders or it's Terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to Exit. I liked Exit. It was a fun game, but it's kind of like Legacy and
Time Stories
were last year, where it's largely just to be like, hey, you're doing something kind of cool and different. So we're going to recognize that and now give the award to an actual game.
Brutal.
Harsh words from Adrian.
I like Time Stories and Pandemic Legacy. I'm not saying they're not actual games. I feel like
it sounds like that's what you're saying.
The way that goes.
Well, it sounds like
traditional game. How about that?
There you go. That's fine.
Sounds like Raiders of the North Sea will be out sometime this summer.
Correct.
So it's gonna happen pretty quick.
Cool. And Renegade Games, great studio so far.
Yes.
Yeah. Next up in news is my most excited thing to be excited about in news.
Oh, yes.
Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. Yes, that Baldur's Gate.
I can't believe this is happening.
Yes, is getting a Betrayal at the House on the Hill. House on Haunted Hill? I don't know.
Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
House on the Hill. And D&D are combining to make Betrayal at Baldur's Gate.
I hope that it is... What did I say earlier? I hope that it is written more consistently.
And it will not be.
Yeah.
Cohesive.
Cohesive. That
Yes.
was the word.
Yeah. In fact, like looking at some of the pictures of like the box and like the components, it looks like it's damn near a straight reskin.
Those character things, the character pentagons, octagons, hexagons,
Yeah.
whatever those
Pentagons.
things, pentagons,
They're five-sided.
they better fucking fit with the plastic thing this time, because that second edition never did.
They look the same, but the picture's too blurry for me to tell if there's a half an inch gap between the top and bottom of them. The backs of the cards are exactly the same. Item, omen, and event. Same logos and things like that, but the tiles look all new.
Yeah, because now you instead of exploring a mansion, you're exploring like a town or a dungeon.
Probably Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, I do
of
like
the
that
city.
idea of exploring an actual town and stuff like that.
Yeah. I bet it will be Baldur's Gate. Yeah. It is the city of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
dark alleys and deadly catacombs. So the basement will be falling into a dungeon or something.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That will definitely be a purchase for me because I like Betrayal.
Yeah,
I do not own Betrayal,
right.
but
yeah, I have the first edition. You have the second edition, right, Adrian?
Yes.
Do you have the expansion?
Yes.
I'm curious to see how well the trader will work in this,
Right.
and what different, because regular Betrayal went through a smorgasbord of different Halloween tropes. I'm curious to see what it's gonna have for these.
Yeah,
Fantasy
like one of the things
D&D.
it
Yeah.
says in the quote for the release, was it a mind flayer's psionic blast or the whisperings of a deranged ghost that caused your allies to turn traitor?
Gotcha.
So I don't know. That makes me feel like it might be more generic, but we'll see. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I like Baldur's Gate. I like Betrayal.
I like Betrayal. I don't really care about fantasy stuff, so I'm curious to see if I will like this or not.
we shall see.
If it has better mechanics,
Like-
all those fingers crossing again,
Yeah.
then I'd like that better, but we'll see.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm a big
Color
fan of-
me interested, whatever color.
I don't know, whatever sort of orangish yellow.
Beige?
Yeah.
A more colorful beige is what I'm going to go with.
Okay. Strong feelings from Zach.
Yes.
Last up, real quick in news, the Colonists, which I believe Adrian played some ridiculously long version of at HeavyCon.
He did.
3 era.
3
Yep.
era,
He did.
Simulated the first and played second, third, and fourth. So basically played a 4-era game.
which you
But
will
not
never
really.
do again.
I would do that again. Skip the first era. I would prefer to skip more eras.
Skip 1, 2, and 3.
I heard
just go
from
for it.
Travis over at Low Player Count that the game gets really interesting when you skip 1 through 3 because you just have like a massive amount of money that you get to buy the tiles for your colony with, and just whatever the money they're worth is you deduct from that pool. So it's almost like when you play an RPG and you have like a point buy for your stats, and like so you kind of get to decide like, oh, do I want to like buy a bunch of like casinos and stuff that are going to earn me money each round, or do I want to like go somewhere do something else? Like
It's like
That's-
rolling a level 20 D&D character.
Yeah. So it just sounds horrible for anybody that is somewhat new to the Colonists.
Oh yeah,
Definitely never do
it's
that.
Definitely not for new players. No,
I want to introduce you to this game. Now just simulate first 3 eras, and then we'll go from there.
because what they'll do is inevitably what I did, where I got lucky because I was able to correct it almost immediately, but I didn't have any storage. I built up my
Adrian,
whole town with no
that's-
storage.
Bad.
It's very bad. Luckily, the first production round, like I had all the production because it sits on your buildings, and I was able to just go to the storage thing and build all storage.
There you
It's
go.
like, yeah, that rectifies that problem nicely. But yeah, the other guy, he did the same thing, but then he couldn't really go there because he couldn't pay the fee, and so he never really recovered.
Gotcha.
It hurt his game pretty bad.
I'm sure it did.
But anyway,
So what if I
we're
said...
talking about colonists for
yes,
a reason.
in this week's news, what if I told you, Adrian, that you could add zombies to the Colonists?
This is going to surprise everybody. I actually would not be interested.
and again, it's cooperative
Those
too.
themes,
It's co-op.
those themes do not mesh.
Yeah.
Luckily, zombies isn't going to happen.
The designer, Tim Puls,
Pools?
is playtesting a cooperative 2-player scenario in which you defend against zombie intruders. But there is a poll to do
Yeah.
other stuff besides zombies, like dragons or vampires or...
What you would want to fight. And so the current nominees, and so he already moved on from this. What, Zach?
No, I'm just. I remember seeing this, so I just continue.
Okay, so the current, the lowest of, well, so all the options, I'll start there. All the options are zombies, mummies, werewolves, vampires, orcs, ghouls, dragons, and something else. Coming in last is zombies with 20 out of 287 votes, roughly 7%. Overwhelmingly winning is something else
That's
with
what I was,
44% of the vote.
Then
Dragons are second at 31%, followed by werewolves. I voted for orcs and something else. It feels vaguely... Colonists feels vaguely enough that like I could see like some kind of orcs or other...
I could understand werewolves. I picked dragons.
Werewolves I
like,
could see.
Dragons. But then I totally... As soon as you said, the one that's overwhelmingly winning is something else, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then he came back and he's like, since so many of you voted for something else, another poll is required. And so then he came up with some new options. There's enemy colonies, natives, wild animals like wolves, etc. Just invaders, villains, or raiders.
Okay.
Which I feel like a lot of those last three are the same thing.
Yes. But I hope that natives was not picked overwhelmingly.
Jeff, do you want to take a guess without glancing at my screen?
I'm going to say enemy colonies. That's what I would go for.
What was the last one?
Raiders.
Villains.
Raiders?
Villains and then something else.
I mean, I think Raiders, probably, just because Vikings are so hot right now.
Okay.
You totally looked over the screen and saw the bars, right? That's why you're asking specifically.
All the bars are
last one.
very similar from this angle.
Well, so it is Raiders that is currently winning with 44.6% of the vote.
I think
Makes
second
sense.
place is pretty close to that, though.
Yeah, enemy colonies is 38%, and wild animals is 35%.
Those sound a lot better.
Native, you can vote multiple times, so these percentages don't add up. Because fourth is 31% natives.
Yeah. That's...
Villains is the least, and just invaders is second to last.
Yeah. No, making it a lot less supernatural just works, I think.
And there was basically the main comment like after that was, no zombies, no Cthulhu, please, neither, no. Overdone, no.
Cthulhu zombies. There you go.
All right.
I did like one of the options here at the very end, like for how this might work, was essentially like you get a pool of other like enemy pawns that you place around the board that make you pay the fee to go there.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Unless like you do something to get rid of them, or like if you did the enemy colonies, like maybe one of the random colonies you draw, or if this is a scenario you're setting up, you place out there, and that colony makes it more expensive to go somewhere or blocks up some things on your player board unless you build an embassy, which would be more like you could send a fighting force or something, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you could do some cool things with that. I'd be interested to see how that would work. I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of it being cooperative seems interesting.
Yeah. Especially it's just a scenario. It's not like it's a full expansion or something.
Something real quick that I just noticed, that Isle of Skye expansion that we talked about a couple weeks ago has a title, The Wanderer.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Is that it?
That's it.
It's going to be
No
more
new
of what's
details.
already in the game. It's more regular tiles, more rule tiles, and then there's going to be a new game board element that provides a new way to score. And supposedly Alexander Pfister is saying that with 4 people, it will increase playing time by about 10 minutes. The whole new board and everything from the expansion. So that'd be nice if it doesn't really overly increase the length of the game while broadening.
I would like to see that because new scoring tiles and new regular tiles, I'm like, that doesn't help the game at all for me. So, I mean, obviously it's better, but it still wouldn't make me want to play the game anymore. So if it adds something new to the game, like the scoring, then I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll look into that.
Fair enough.
Or you could just realize it's a good game and play it no matter what.
I said it's a fine game. I just don't like it.
You could appreciate how fine of a game it is.
We're going to move on to Kickstarters.
Yes, we are.
Kickstarters.
We're going to start with one of the hottest Kickstarters out there right now. Settlers for Satan. Or Catan. I don't know. It's Satan.
I became aware of this Kickstarter through the
Slack, right?
The Slack channel for Punchboard Media, because everybody's kind of like, WTF. And yeah, looking at this, I got to agree. Kind of what the fuck. It's a tile set that's a bunch of various versions of pentagrams, and then there's like a demonic priest that I think takes the place of the robber.
A rogue priest.
Rogue priest, yeah. So it doesn't really change anything. You still totally need a copy of Settlers to play because you need all the roads and houses and everything, which then makes a very jarring clash with the Satan tiles. The only thing I could say positive about this is the tiles themselves. The molding process sounds kind of cool. It's like a crush kind of composite stuff.
It's
like,
made of
end up being
solid
like
hydrostone? Yeah.
Yeah, so they end up being like little stone tiles, which that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would love stone tiles for Catan. Just I could do without pentagrams all over them. Just because that doesn't interest me.
They're only making enough sets for this Kickstarter, and then the molds will be destroyed.
So they say.
So they say.
But yeah, Jeff, did you have hot stats for this one that you wanted to share?
It's funded $4,800 of a $666 goal. 55 backers. You got a little under a month to back. You can get this game for $49 unpainted or $100 painted.
Yeah.
Hand painted, but
So.
painted. Unpainted, they're sort of just beige tiles,
Yeah.
which meh.
The satanic theme does not really come across as well unpainted.
No, it does
So
not.
that's a nice star.
Yeah.
Well, and so the thing that kind of kills me is looking at the hexes. Like, I don't know, the way they drew the pentagram stars combined with the, hexagon hexes just doesn't work. I don't like the way they line up at all. It bothers me.
Yeah. Sometimes they look more like stars.
I mean, I do like
definitely look
that they
more like
have
stars.
receded edges, so the roads and buildings and stuff are receded from the actual tiles. I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. So I've got enough other Catan junk, some of which I've made myself.
But if you want a very unique Satan set,
Go for it.
Yeah.
go for it.
Moving on to the Kickstarters that we're actually interested in.
Indeed. Some I wish less than my wallet could take. Next up, The Component Collector. This one is well-funded with $76K of its $1,000 goal, 731 backers, about 3 weeks to go. You can get this for $44 to $49 and in collection sets of all the way up to $800.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so this is basically their wooden component like boxes, but they're magnetic, and so you can connect them in various different ways. Like I saw one picture where it was like a Zombicide board or something like that, and they had them actually built right around the Zombicide, that actual player board. That looks pretty cool. They even come with like dice trays. There are some that can hold cards. They're very, they look. The actual quality of them looks pretty nice.
Their first stretch goal, which they've unlocked, which is kind of cool. It's a 2-piece counter that goes from 0 to 9. So you can use it to keep track of things
Turns
that
or-
need tracking. Yeah.
You can get 2 to count all the way to 100.
Yeah. They do look really cool though.
It reminds me of the D&D player board that we talked about a while ago. It looks really cool, but price-wise, it's just like it's only if you really.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I would get nearly enough use out of it to make it worth the investment. But man, some of them look awesome.
Yeah.
They have a nice strap that keeps them all onto their tray for storage.
And the tray is the dice tray part too.
Yeah.
So it packs up really nicely.
Oh, some of them got like little card slots where you can put like your player card or your roll or whatever to stand them up. Like, man, yeah,
Some good
it looks
staining
so cool.
options
Yeah.
you can get on them.
The green one is one of my favorites in that set. I don't know why, but I really like it.
I don't like how the green one looks.
I like all of them.
I do kind of like all of them.
I don't know. I always feel weird about painted wood.
Yeah, I can see that.
Stained wood.
Yeah.
Wait till I stain my Gloomhaven.
I'll be waiting.
The box.
I like stain. Yeah, I like stains.
insert.
But when it's basically have it still look wood colored, I guess.
You like wood colored staining.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Just don't stain it polka dot or something like that.
Well, that would be a lot of work.
It would.
Yeah.
So don't do it.
Yeah.
For
various reasons.
Yeah, it looks super cool.
It does.
I could always use little trays for a lot of games, but like I said, $59 might be a little high
Just
for
find 3 other players, and then everybody can go do it for $50 each.
Yeah, there you go. Or you can just do the $800 one and have everyone kick in $200.
The 800 one is for a 4-pack of dice towers.
Well, it's 4 component collectors, each in your choice of wood from any tier, plus
plus dice
4
towers.
dice towers.
Yeah.
In any wood from their website, which the dice towers also look really sweet.
They do. Yeah. Like all the craftsmanship and all this stuff looks great quality.
It just makes me want to start working with wood even more.
I know, right? God, I gotta buy a house.
But
so
like
I can start building a garage.
like the dice towers even have
yeah, no, they're real good.
not recessed, but I don't know,
The opposite of
the opposite of recessed. like a
Cessed.
like a like a Cthulhu or a tree. I don't know. There's a tree and
It's
there's
a really
Cthulhu.
cool,
And
I
then
get
like
what
a
you're
Nordic
saying.
hammer. Yeah.
Just the way that you said it.
The way that you struggled to say
the
that, Jeff.
Cthulhu all the way to a tree.
They look great.
They look fantastic.
They really do.
So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the money to throw at it to make. If I could afford the 4-pack, so I could have 4 of them at the house.
Yes.
So when people come over to play games, I could hand everybody one. That'd be great.
And then a 5th player comes. Fuck you.
Yep, you get to play with just the table.
You get dirt. Make your own.
Oh, geez.
Yep.
Moving on to the big boy.
Yep. That was a component collector.
Yep.
You got, 3 weeks? Yep, 3 weeks. And then the big one we talked about last week, we have official stats on. This would be Zombicide Green Horde, expansion for Black Plague.
Standalone.
Spandalone.
Yes.
Yeah. This one has destroyed all goals. $2.1 million on a $300,000 goal, over 16,000 backers, and a little less than 3 weeks to go. You have one pledge level at $120. There are 2 expansions that they are letting you add on for $60 or $50 and $30, and then some, dice, because it wouldn't be a Zombicide Kickstarter without some fucking dice.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, basically the main thing to take away from this Kickstarter is that Simon has invented an ability to just print money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little ridiculous.
And so it happened. It happened the first time with Rising Sun. If they didn't do early bird pledges, and a lot of people were curious, is this like their trend, or they just wanted to do that with Rising Sun? But this one right here, there's only one pledge, $120 right from the beginning. And so it looks like they're done away with the early bird pledges that they did in the past.
$5 off?
I also don't see
$10 off.
$1 pledge that was still available as far back as Massive Darkness.
Yeah. And then this one basically comes with its own expansion pack in it. It's the Feral Dragon pack, which is why it's $120, because the base game is $100 MSRP, and then the Feral one is $30 MSRP, so you're getting $10 off for that.
Yeah, I still really dislike that because, so for instance, I don't give a shit about a giant dragon.
I feel like you are like one of 5 people.
I mean, maybe, I guess.
It's a big dragon.
It's a big dragon. I've heard multiple people talk to me, and they're like, "Can you believe that fucking dragon that's in there? That's awesome."
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a cool dragon, but not a $30 cool dragon.
It's only $20.
Well, and
it comes with a what is it? A ballista too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
shoot the dragon with.
like
Yes. Yeah.
I like if that was a $30 optional buy or even a $20 optional buy, I would not be getting it.
Yeah.
And then I would actually consider backing the base box for $100 so I could get the Kickstarter exclusives with it.
They just want you to have that dragon.
They just want more money.
They want you to have that dragon.
They want more money.
If they wanted more money, then they would have done $100. They'd done $130 for it, maybe.
I don't like that the dragon is exclusive to Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, that's its own thing.
Yeah. that's. I mean, it's a cool dragon, but
Yeah. Every
no one could get that dragon.
Yeah, every single one of their things have at least one Kickstarter exclusive at the very beginning.
Yes, they do.
So.
And that's
because that's a huge part of them playing off of
don't want to miss
fear
out.
of missing out and completionist mentality that's prevalent in board gaming.
Even the
I would just blame human nature, not necessarily them. They're just taking advantage of it.
even the
Which again, going back to good and bad business practices, don't take advantage of human nature. Be responsible. I don't know.
be responsible in your advantage taking.
Yeah.
There are other companies that do that.
Oh, yeah, there absolutely are. They're just Cool Mini's the one who regularly pulls down 4 or 5 multi-million-dollar Kickstarters in a year.
Yes.
Their optional buy Friends and Foes expansion also has a Kickstarter exclusive character with it, which is kind of a bummer.
The others, the one that they had some of the I think it was the Apocalypse one had 2 Kickstarter exclusives on it as well for heroes. But luckily they have a shitload of heroes, so
You're not really missing out.
you're not really missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this makes me nervous. So I wasn't super interested in this one because Black Plague kind of fell flat. But I do know they've talked about that they do intend to go back to the base Zombicide, which I still really like. I don't bust out very often, but I do like just throwing a bunch of dice and smashing zombies in a lighthearted co-op kind of situation. I'm nervous that by the time that rolls around in a year or so, they're going to be wanting $160 for a base pledge and a bunch of ridiculous stuff that pretty much will turn me off for good.
Yeah.
They're getting too expensive. I can't justify that kind of money,
Well,
especially for like a year-long wait.
Well, and I'd say mainly because when is the last time you've played it?
oh
Any
yeah,
of them?
it's sat in my closet for a long time.
Something they aren't doing that they used to do is a lot of those, like, they would have additional purchase characters that would be like $10 each.
Yeah.
Which they haven't done that in quite a while.
They did a fair amount for Black Plague, the last
Yeah.
of the Zombicide series.
Yeah.
And
I
I
haven't
wouldn't be
seen-
surprised if more of the stretch goals, like they haven't listed out all of their upcoming stretch goals, I don't think.
But all the stretch goals they have listed have not been like, pay $10 to get this one that
This is
was
true.
unlocked.
Yeah.
Which I like better.
That is nice.
A lot of the money I spent on those old Kickstarters was just on those $10 characters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Black Plague I spent like almost $300 on.
Yeah.
Which, fuck.
Yeah. So this does add one interesting thing: is the Horde mechanic.
Yeah, there's some cool sounding stuff in this.
So the Horde mechanic is like whenever certain cards come out, you put an extra zombie out off the board until it's this giant group, and then at some point they all just rush in. Mm-hmm. And I really like that idea. It was just it reminds me of Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
The whatever when the noise happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
Rush.
The rush. The
Swarm.
yeah.
don't
The
know,
Macho
whatever it's
Man
called.
Randy Savage.
Oh my god.
Bonesaw.
Yeah. Bonesaw is ready.
Yeah. Hooray for context.
Oh yeah. We tried real hard to get that into an episode. It didn't work.
No. Basically, it was a mod for Left 4 Dead that made every zombie noise one of his quotes.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious.
I mean, I think we
great.
put it in an episode.
Oh, we did?
But it was one of our early ones, so the quality was really shitty.
oh, yeah.
You just like held your phone up to the microphone.
It was probably even Jeff that held up his
Probably.
I'm surprised that even made it to the episode.
I don't know. It might not have.
Yeah.
People might be like, what
Well,
the
look it
fuck
up.
are we talking
Left 4
about?
Dead, Macho Man.
So go listen to all of our old episodes until you find it.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean look it up online, not in
Yes,
archives?
look up a video. Don't bother looking at the
Yeah.
episode.
But yeah, the Horde mechanic seems really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. But, all right, well, that wraps up news and Kickstarters, yeah?
Indeed.
Right on.
My Roan got canceled, sadly.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
buddy.
They are relaunching with free shipping, though, so I will definitely be getting
That's good.
that.
Cool.
And I will update you next week because it relaunches like tomorrow.
Right on. Well, with that, we will move on to our review. So this week we are going to be reviewing Yokohama. This is a 2016 release from designer Hisashi Hayashi, published by Tasty Minstrel Games. It plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 90 minutes. Zach, you got our rules rundown for us?
Yes, I do. In Yokohama is the beginning of the Meiji era, and Yokohama has become one of the largest trading cities to foreign countries. As a merchant, you'll be trying to gain the most fame trading through these channels. You'll be placing down assistants to help your president gather more resources, get better contracts, and get more expensive technologies. Your president can only go to locations where your assistants are already present, so you'll need to plan for future moves. Other presidents can also block your way, forcing you to pay to move through their location or to stop you from using their location. You can also build stores and trading houses to increase your base power in different places. Stopping at customs will get you a lot of points if you can bring in imported goods, and the church will trade donations for points as well. Finally, you can fulfill orders for different countries, allowing you to get foreign agents by building a relationship with that country. The game ends when someone has placed all trading houses or stores, they've filled up enough spots at customs or the church, or there are no more orders to fulfill. Everyone will then get one more turn, then you will tally up endgame scoring, and the person with the most points is the winner.
Right on. That is Yokohama.
There's a bunch of rules in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
But I think something we should say at the top of this review is this is our first free game provided by a publisher.
Yep.
Yes.
Tasty Minstrel sent us this game.
Yep.
So this is not the deluxified version. All of the review copies they sent out to various reviewers, of which we are now one.
Yeah.
Officially a reviewer. Never mind all those other reviews. This is the first real review.
This is the first real review.
Because it was free.
Yeah. It makes sense, but it also sucks because, oh man, that deluxified
Yeah.
version.
I'm looking at pictures of the deluxified version right now, and it's real. It looks good.
I'm considering buying one on Board Game Geek for $100 plus shipping. So,
Yeah. So,
But yes,
before we get into that,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
spoiler alert, you might be able to figure out how Zach feels about this game from that comment.
I don't know. All up front, we got this game for free.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, which hopefully
Will not affect my opinion on it at all.
Yeah.
No, that definitely won't affect our opinions on games.
Just
I feel like especially like it's going to be fairly reasonable that there will be games that we'll get for review copies like this where at least one of the three of us ends up hating it.
Yeah.
And so even if two people do gush over it, there will be at least somebody who's like, no, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. And so hopefully that's something
We have a nice triangle of hate.
Yes.
That it goes closer to two people, one person's triangle gets farther away.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like that, like if you need a custom project done, do you want it fast,
Yeah.
cheap, or
Good.
good? Yeah. And
Choose two.
and that's how it is. Do you want Jeff, Zach, or Adrian to like it? Choose two.
Unless it's Terraforming Mars.
Yeah,
Unless it's
that's the
Terraforming
pyramid right on top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some exceptions.
Yes.
But anyway, getting into this one. So what were initial thoughts going into this game?
It had a lot of components.
It does have a lot of components.
Yeah.
Yeah, still does.
Yeah.
We did not throw them away when we were done.
I didn't know any. I'm going first.
Yes.
I didn't. I didn't know anything about this game. I had kind of looked it up. I was kind of wanting to go into it without any sort of research or anything,
Right.
because I knew we were getting it, which was exciting. But yeah, it looked cool and had already been reviewed pretty well. But that's all I really knew about it.
I watched a run through on John Gets Games a little while ago, and I really just dug the way that he was presenting it. And then I liked. So the first time I played a game with worker movement, I think was the Colonists, and I really liked that mechanic.
It's really becoming one of my new favorite mechanics.
And so I saw that this one had it on there too, but then I heard about just how much variability you have built into the game, and I was like, now you're speaking Zach's language. So color me interested, which is definitely soft red, I think.
Okay.
Versus that beige from before. Yeah.
It's warmer.
Warmer, yes.
Yeah, warmer colors.
Yes. Think like early fall. No. Anyway, I was just like, this seems interesting. I want to try it out. So, I also, the thing I watched was the deluxified version, and I was like, those are some great looking pieces right now. And then when we were popping it open, I was like, oh, okay, these look fine. And then I remembered seeing the deluxified ones, and I was like, oh, right.
Oh.
But yeah, I was interested.
Cool. So this is, same boat. Like I knew we were getting a review copy, so I was excited for that reason. Like,
yes,
first
obviously,
review
yes.
copy is kind of a cool milestone. But I'd also been catching some buzz that, it was a solid worker movement, but worker placement game. And that there was solid amounts of variability. It was a nice big box. Several people in Punchboard Media had gotten Kickstarters and were eagerly waiting Kickstarters, and some of them had gotten review copies before us and were already kind of talking about it. So I'd been starting to hear some good things. So my expectation level was decently high up on the chain there as we busted it out. So starting off, component quality.
It's a lot of cubes.
You get a decent amount of cubes. You have a lot of cardboard chits.
A lot.
There's a lot of cardboard to punch.
I would say close to Laharve level of chits.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. But you can tell, what everything is. The fish are
Fish.
They're fish, but then blue. The entire thing is blue. There's no white border at the end of each of those things.
No, there are not.
It's like mocking old Prince of Antiquity.
Yeah.
Unless it's silk, which has technically got a white border on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't they just blow that up to the whole size of the chit, Zach?
Because that's, I don't know.
No, because it's to differentiate the colors. Because the silk is the white one. Yeah. Whereas everything, anyway. What the fuck are you saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a reason that one did.
Yeah.
Why are the rules in fucking Antiquity a white border? Anyway.
No.
But yeah, you can tell what everything is. Location, cardboard things, whatever you call those.
The tiles.
The tiles, yes, that's a better word.
Yes.
The board
I don't know.
tiles.
I like cardboard location things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
We'll talk a lot about cardboard location things and how you put things on cardboard
we
location
can
things.
use tiles for short. It's or syllables a little bit shorter.
Yes, the tiles, all the cardboard in the game is high quality. It's nice and thick,
Yeah.
very sturdy. Punching it out, everything punched out real nice.
They all look unique except for the ones that are supposed to be the same, obviously. But you can still tell it's the art on the back is basic-ish, but works well enough, I think.
Yeah.
And it doesn't distract from anything. I mean, obviously the board presence is really distracting, like overall, not intimidating for new
Yes,
players.
very intimidating.
Because you use so many tiles, and I wish the scoring thing was smaller in some way. because it seems really big for what you need it.
It seems huge for what it is. Yeah.
I mean, it works well, I guess, technically, if you have that in the center and then you have all, like, if you're playing 4 players and you have the tiles on the side of it. But like you said, this is a table hog.
Yeah, we tweeted out a picture playing it yesterday, one last time before the review, and that was my tag. 4-player Yokohama is a table hog. It's huge.
It uses a decent amount of iconography for certain things, but it's pretty easy to understand, I think.
You pick up on it real quick.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, like, Jeff mentioned, like, it's got a lot of rules at the beginning, and, like, there are some, but all the iconography and everything on the components really makes it easy to learn those once and then kind of get it. Like, you don't have to, like, we've almost never referenced the rule book after the first major play. So
I feel like the only times we have is when someone did something and everyone's like, that was too good. Let's make sure you could actually fucking do what you just did.
It's like order of operations.
Yes. Right.
Like, make sure you can't pull your dudes off before you can do this other thing to use the dude you pulled off.
Yeah.
I did notice that, at least in our copy, some of the wooden cubes were a little dinged or
chipped or something like that.
So they're not the best quality wooden cubes, but I mean, for me personally, like, I'm the guy who, like, antiquities, white borders doesn't bother me. Like, that component quality, like, that kind of stuff doesn't
nothing
register.
Yeah.
bad about the components.
I mean, and for me at least, it's just wooden cubes. You're gonna get a couple chips and stuff like that.
Especially as many as there are in this game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little wooden
There's
cubes.
a lot of everything in this game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the cards work too.
Yeah.
They
don't really get moved around a lot or anything.
no.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like, I could.
You don't have a hand or anything.
Yeah,
so.
I appreciate that they did them as cards so that there's the variability that each places, the things that you place there, each location's like
Slightly different.
Yeah, abilities that you can claim are slightly different. I don't know if it was necessary. It's one of those, I appreciate they did it. They probably could have just had, like, for more of a balanced area, like, oh, this area people don't go to as much, let's boost its reward tier. I don't know. Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Rules
and rules explanation. It is daunting at first, especially once you get it out and you start setting it up, and it's like, oh man, there's so much going on here. But really, it boils down pretty simple.
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, once you learn everything, turns can go relatively quickly because it's just you put cubes down, you move to a place, you do whatever that action is, and if you have any extra, if you had enough assistance there, you build a building, which is really, like, there's a really small, short, or not small, just there's few spaces for it, so you usually know exactly which one you want. And then you can do an extra action if you want that are, either fulfilling orders or using foreign agents or stuff. But it's usually pretty quick. Like, okay, I'm going to T, I'm going to get, 4 T, whatever. Now it's your turn.
Yeah. Because, basically, like, the game plays out over multiple rounds until one of the multiple end conditions meet, which I'll come back to those. But you do an optional action. You run through the 6 steps of your main action.
Yes.
And, like, 3 of them are optional. And then you can do another optional action at the end, and then that's your turn.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And it's always like that every time, and makes it easy to just kind of move through. And you can really plan out, like, okay, I want to do these optional actions to set up my turn. I'm going to do these few actions on my turn, and boom, boom, boom. And then, like we were saying, the iconography on the board really helps with that, I think. The other nice thing is the player boards that you have that turn order, the steps you do on them.
They not only do they have that, but they also have all of the end game scoring too.
Yes.
Right on the bottom, so you know what to look for.
Yeah. Especially, like, when you get towards the end of the game and you're like, all right, the game's going to end soon. Like, what do I need to focus on? You can look right there. Boom.
Yeah.
Which is hugely appreciated. Good player aids or player boards that have that kind of information is a major plus.
And also, it has room for all of your assistants, and then all the excess ones are the ones that you start with, so your board starts fully filled, which is nice. I'm glad they didn't like, I've seen some, I can't think of which one at the moment, where it's like you have this entire board that's filled, and it's like, okay, now when you're starting, take these off. And I like the idea of, it's just like, well, if you start with them, there's no reason for them to be on that board anyway.
Yeah. I like the randomness of the setup.
I love the variability of the setup.
So essentially, like, there's a set of base location tiles that are going to go out no matter what, and then there's additional ones you add for 3 and 4 players. But you just kind of shuffle them up randomly and then deal them out into a pyramid.
And they have like for 3 or 4 players, they have spots on, in the rule book that's just like, you put a 3.
I don't think that that's actually what that's supposed to denote.
Oh, really?
I was looking into it more, and that's just like showing an example of them randomly distributed, that you would see the 3s and 4s on the backs.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it even better then.
Yeah.
So just make sure not to get a fucking canal. The first time that you and me played, who else did we play with? Paul? Yeah. We had the canal. You remember the canal, Jeff? Literally in a corner.
So it was useless.
Yeah, so we go, okay, well, we're just going to move that because that's a waste of a time. Like,
the second game I played at HeavyCon, I was teaching it, and it was the same thing. Like, that was shown up, and it was on the side, so it would have technically linked some, but I was like, all right, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a bad spot for this. I'm going to move it.
I think if it's on the side, I'd be okay with it because it can still move a couple things, but the fact that it was literally in the top left corner,
never use it.
You would never use it, so yeah. The canal is nice because you get to move, because usually if you, so speaking of rules too, I really like the way the movement works, that you can move through other people, but you have to pay them money. And the last game that we played, I was really tight on money. And
that really affected where you would go.
Yeah, and so there were times it'd be like, okay, well, half the board is blocked off because all your 3 pawns were over there. And so I was like, okay, well, I have to figure out some way to move over here.
So basically, like, you place your assistants is one of the first things you do, and you can place either 1 in 3 different places or 2 in 1 place. And then your main president can only move along a path of your assistant cubes.
Yes.
And so you get into this, like, it's an interesting game of, like, making the path making across it. And that's where, like, the canal card we're talking about, like, that tile, basically you pay 1 gold to cross that tile for free. And, like, you don't ever put cubes on it. So it can work, especially if it's more in the middle of the map. It can kind of complete different routes and let people move around at the expense of a coin, which money's regularly tight.
But you don't have to pay that money to somebody else.
Right.
Which
it
is
just goes to the bank. But yeah, overall, I think rules and all that goes pretty smooth.
I think it's... I'm trying to think of, like, what was the hardest thing to really get? Well, for you, it was that the...
Well, no, so that's a good point.
Yeah.
So when you're calculating the value, basically on every one of the tiles where you perform an action, they have a value from 1 to 5 that represents how many pieces you have, like what your power is there, and your power is calculated by the number of pieces. When we first played, did not catch during Zach and Paul's rules explanation that it was all of the pieces of your color, which includes your trading houses and your, like, storehouses.
It's the trading houses and stores.
And your stores, which are the little yellow cardboard chits. I thought it was just your assistant cubes and your president. And so for the first half of that game, I was severely limiting my ability to, because, like, obviously, like, the more you have, the better your action is there.
One thing that's nice about the deluxeified version is that all your stores and trading houses are all wood.
They're big wooden
So
chunks.
you can just say any of your wooden pieces, and it's, like wooden pieces and then other stuff. If you have wooden pieces there, they count towards it.
Right. Yeah, other than that, I think everything else is really pretty solidly straightforward.
Yeah. Did you have any problems, Jeff?
The only thing I didn't catch out of the entire rules explanation was it was majority on the church and what was the other track?
Customs.
Yes.
Not who's farthest along.
Gotcha.
Ties is farthest along, but not just like most color.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing I didn't catch by the way through the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which I'll circle back around on that in gameplay because that had an interesting thing in the last game we played. But yeah, so moving on to gameplay. Overall, like, once you get the rules down, like you said, like, it's a little daunting at first, and it's different enough that, like, you're learning a new game. There's not really much else out there like this. Colonists uses worker movement, but it uses it quite a bit differently.
Well, it's because you have your own board that you're building, whereas this one usually it's because this is mainly just about trading, getting resources, trading them in, getting technologies to help you do those things better.
Right.
But for the most part, it's just that. You're not going to build something else, so you have to prepare for that. It's getting resources and trading those resources.
But once you kind of get past that initial learning the game, the gameplay goes smooth. Like, we kind of touched on that with the components and things. Like the iconography is really good. It lends to playing real well. You know what you're going to be able to do at the tiles when you're going there. The rules don't get in the way. Like, you follow the set kind of rotation of steps each time. It is interesting, I think, a little bit the strategy in, like, when you go somewhere. And a good example of that was in our last game. I was building up very clearly on the one where you can pick up stuff where you move from the employment office, which allows you to move things from your player board into your hand to place them out on there. I clearly put a bunch of cubes on there, and Jeff was like, "Oh shit, Adrian's going to the employment office."
And I could be like, I could put 4 cubes there and build something there.
And so he went there first, which then by the time it got back around to my turn, he's now there. You can't go where another president is.
Unless you have that one tech that lets you do that.
One of the rule breakers. All the techs are rule breakers, essentially.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about technologies at all.
Yeah. But, this was early game. I didn't have that. So he saw that I was building up to go there and was like, oh, shit, if I don't go there now, he's clearly going there next turn. I won't be able to go there. And it, got him jump in the way, which then got in my way. And it was like, shit, now I got to plan other things. And there were multiple times that game where, like, I was building up to go somewhere, and then all of a sudden, like, somebody right before me would move there. And it's like, come on.
Yeah. That's one thing I definitely noticed on here is that, like, and it's one thing I really like is that, because, with Colonists, is you just have to pay money, but then you can still go to the same locations. This one is just straight.
It's a hard block.
It's a hard block. And there was even a time where I could have gone, like, after Jeff moved, I was like, I could go to the employment agency, but it was like, but I would do it solely to screw over Adrian. And as much as I wanted to do that,
and
I was like, and should, yes, I should have done it. But I was like, I need to do this other thing more.
Yeah. And I mean, usually in games, and this is one of the things, like, I was talking to Megan a little bit today on the phone about, like, things I liked about this game and things I didn't. And one of the things that came up was player interaction and stuff like that, and how I like a lot of player interaction, but I don't like fuck you player interaction.
Yeah.
And, like, you could be fuck you about this. Like, clearly see, he's going to go there. I'm going to block him just to fuck him.
Yeah.
But it's a game where if you do that, if you take that kind of gotcha attitude, you're not doing the best move for you, and that's going to cost you in the long run.
It's because you're putting down those assistants to plan your future moves, and you only have a limited amount of assistants. There have been times where I've had to, like, if you spread yourself out too thin on this, it can start to hurt you. Because I've had multiple times, especially when I was playing with Jeff and Paul, was that, like, I would have 1 cube to place because everything else was on the board, and I just couldn't pull enough back to actually do them. And on your turn, when there is something you can actually do that I did once on that game, was you can just pull your president back off the board. If you, like, say you get caught in a corner, you don't have any money to pay the people to go through, you pull your president off. Or if you just don't have any good moves, and then it allows you to pull cubes off the board as well and sort of, like, reorient it yourself.
Right.
But it
wastes an entire turn.
Yeah, it wastes a turn, and you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's usually a bad sign for how you're going to do it.
I actually got 3 points of winning from Paul. But it worked out because...
I said usually a bad sign.
Yeah, usually. It worked out for the best because the couple turns before that, I was like, I place a guy here and I take a cube. It was very much just sort of limping along. I'm like, I just need to take a turn off, reorient myself, and then go back with more cubes and stuff like that.
And that's where this game really rewards being able to plan, like, not just your next turn, but like 2 or 3 turns on the road. Because if you're placing 3 cubes, you ideally are wanting to place those to where you're going to place like 3 of them. And then your next turn, you're going to place 3 more, but you're going to go to somewhere where you've already placed like maybe 2.
Yeah.
So you're taking a 3 action and pulling some cubes back. And like you're planning it out to where you're building up just in time to get there. And then all those cubes come off and you use them on your next turn. And then you go somewhere else with a bunch. Like you said, if you get too spread out where you've got 1 in a whole bunch of places, that's going to hurt.
But it also rewards having like plan Bs and Cs, especially with more players.
Yeah.
Because when we played with 3 players, I was like, okay, I'm noticing this one. But when we did it at 4, I was like, oh man, this feels like a lot more blocking.
Yeah. Which is interesting because I've heard some people complain that with the addition of the extra 4 tiles at 4 players, that they felt the game... Maybe it opened it up enough. And I think some of that might be the variability in the layout of the tiles. Our layout, like the money and
a lot of great things were in one corner.
Yeah.
And so we just kept congregating around there.
Which, so I think that's one of those things with any game with variability. Like there's some setups that'll be variable that are like, well, shit, this is really nice and easy. And then there's some that's like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
So.
And you could probably plan around those conglomerations of really good tiles and go to the opposite side and make a strategy out of whatever the hell no one else is around.
Yes. Yeah. You did that near the end of the last game. Like we were all 3, me, Adrian, and Paul were on this corner here. Jeff's like, I'm just going to drop all these cubes down here and just hang out near the other silk and the other fish and the other thing.
There's plenty of silk and fish over here too, guys. Problem is the port and orders were nowhere near there.
No, they were not. So, do we want to talk about tech a little bit?
Sure. So
Tech's
is rule
expensive.
breakers. It is also expensive.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, they all introduce sort of little game breaking things. Some it's pretty big, like
Well, not game breaking, rule breaking.
rule breaking. Yeah, that instead of placing 3 down in different areas, you can do 4, or you can when you put 2 down, you get to put 1 in an extra area, or the one you had, Jeff.
When I use an area, I can leave one behind instead of pulling them all off.
Or the stagecoach that you had that let you move through other players for free.
Yep, that was huge.
Or the one where you get to go, you can go to another player's spot, but then you still have to pay them. And those two combined is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
You can just go anywhere and not pay anybody anything.
Well, I think you still have to, because the stagecoach lets you move through for free.
No, I'm saying the other one is. Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you still have to pay if you go where they are.
Possibly, yeah.
And then there's a lot of like
It's still powerful.
Yeah.
Get extra victory points for doing other, like placing down stores, placing down trade houses.
Get an extra $1 every time you complete an order.
Yeah, that's the stuff that's pretty nice that you're like, oh, I get 2 extra points every time I do orders. I should probably do some more orders.
Yeah.
And I like that the orders, there are some that are like really easy to fulfill, but they're not worth very many points, and others that take a decent amount more but are worth a lot of points. And that's how you get most of your import goods too.
Which the orders are just basic recipe fulfillment. You're
Yep.
going around the board, you're collecting those resources, the silk, the fish, the tea, and the copper.
Yeah.
And then you're completing varying amounts that are on the order cards. 1 and 1 and 2
three
of something.
3 tea and a copper for a import good and 5 victory points.
Yes. And the one interesting thing I'd say on those is that each of them are tied to a country.
As are the tech.
Yes, and so if you get a pair of a country of any country, you get what's called a foreign agent, which is worth 1 point at the end of the game. Or if you use it, you can basically take sort of an extra turn every turn, or once a turn.
Right.
And that can be really powerful near the end game.
When
When
you
you
just once per agent.
Yeah.
Would be a good way of saying it. You get an extra turn once per agent because you turn the agent over.
Well,
and
yeah.
use.
It's a one-time use for that. Yeah, but I mean, like if you have 2 agents, you can't use both of them.
Right.
Because your president has to go to where your assistants or cubes are to be able to use that area. And then the foreign agent sort of acts as a president that doesn't add a...
Yeah, he sort of turns one of the assistants to a president.
Yeah.
Quote unquote, whatever. Like
It lets you activate an area where you have assistants.
yeah, which is nice for when, like, if
Someone else is there?
Yeah, if someone else's president is there, you can still activate that and get to do that action.
It's useful if you can get the pairs.
Yes.
Yep.
And so you can do more than once per turn for an agent because you do one at the beginning.
No, it
optional
literally
phase.
says once per turn. That's what I was
I
saying.
thought it was once per optional action phase.
No, it was once per turn.
Meh.
Before or after
Yes.
your regular turn.
Yes. And I like that it gives you that option too, because there are sometimes you're like, I need to do that first before I do this other thing. Because there have been times where it's like, I need to activate this spot. Maybe it's not the best thing, but it gets me cubes that I can then place out in the board.
Yeah.
But they are limited.
Yes.
The foreign agents.
Netherlands only has 1. And so I always see somebody, like the first thing they go for if they can is
Netherlands.
get that Netherlands real quick.
Get that Netherlands.
Either through quick orders or quick tech.
Yeah. Which I just stay away from it. Like,
Yeah.
Unless it's like I'm getting an order because it's the best order for me. Like I don't go for Netherlands. Like if you're going to go for something, go for like the UK. Because there's 3 of those. Like you're not going to get blocked out. Like because if you go for 1 Netherlands but you don't get that second card and somebody else beats you to it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is that like some person, like as soon as I see one person get a Netherlands, like 1 tag of those, everyone's like, okay, well, we're going to avoid that now.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's.
What do you think of the end game conditions?
So in-game conditions are when they're, and it varies for player count,
Yep.
but it's when there's a certain amount of players in either the religion track, the custom track,
Yep.
when all of the
When all the orders are
Orders,
gone,
that's
or rather when you need to.
place a new order
Yeah.
card and there's
You
none.
can't.
Or when somebody places all of their shops or all of their trading houses. I think those are all good end conditions. I feel like at any point that one of those things becomes true, like the game has gone on long enough that
Yeah.
it's a good time to call the game.
And you can still keep track of it enough, but there's a bunch of different ways, so you always have to be sort of on your turn.
Yeah.
So if you see someone starting to buy a lot of trading houses, you're like, oh well, maybe we should keep an eye on that, or the stores, or you like the orders is getting thin, and then I like that. I like that there are a bunch of different ways for the game to end. That usually, I feel like that usually makes the game shorter versus a game that just has one.
Right. Well, especially because depending on what the one is, like if it's
Exactly.
just
Or what
one, you can
strategies
kind of
people
avoid
use.
it. Yeah. This one, it seems like no matter what strategy somebody uses, it's going to be a strategy that pushes the end game along, which is nice.
Yeah.
And there's one thing this game has: a lot of different strategies.
Yes, it does.
And that's one of the interesting things Paul mentioned after the last game. So I ended up ending the game because I built my 4th trading house.
Yeah.
And this kind of also goes back to what I wanted to touch on with the customs and the religion tracks, where Jeff, you said you were unsure about the fact that it was majority, not farthest. So very early on, like my 4th turn, I placed very high on the customs track.
You placed highest.
Yes. Which cost me 5 trade goods.
Yeah. 4.
4.
Yeah.
24 points.
I
22
mean, I
points.
might have
22?
been better off spending that, because then I ended with 1 that I never got a place because Paul filled up the 1 spot.
Yeah.
I might have been better off, maybe going for a 2 and then going
3.
right back
Yeah.
for a 2 and then
Yeah.
a 1 and then get 3 spots.
Right.
And then also, like, after the game finished, Paul talked about, like, he didn't focus at all on building trading houses, and he felt like it helped him a lot in the game, which, looking around, like, nobody else really went for trading houses besides me. And they get progressively more. It's like 4, 5, 6, 7 money to move them from your board to your hand. So I had to keep, like, every turn, like, bank, employment office, somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, and then finally the next spot where I could actually afford to place it. And I had to keep doing that loop while you guys were like, we're going to get a bunch of goods, fulfill a bunch of orders, and get a bunch of points.
Well, and you and me were 1 point away from each other, and we were doing vastly different things.
Very different
I didn't buy any of my stores. I bought one of my trading houses just to get the 9 points when I placed it down. And then I bought 2 of my assistants. So I was running a very lean crew.
Yeah.
And that included having a tech that let me place 4 of the assistants down. So I was very much like, oh, God, I keep running out of assistants. Because you fuckers kept using the employment agency.
I think that this will be an interesting game long term with the gameplay to see how those different strategies kind of evolve, like seeing what works for somebody and what doesn't, and then seeing how that affects future plays.
Yes.
Like if we all stop doing trading houses, and like say somebody new jumps in the group who like has successfully done a bunch of trading houses, and they like come out of the blue and wipe us out with a strategy we never saw coming.
Right.
Like, games like this I think are interesting in how that kind of stuff plays out within a group too.
I also wanted to touch on there's like 3 extra conditions that you can fulfill for more points that are variable depending on the game.
It's those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I like is, like, there's some of them are like 7 fish. If you have 7 fish at any point, you can claim it. First person that does it gets 10 points. Everybody else who does it can get 8 points. So you get a bonus for doing it first, but even
everyone else can
everyone else can do it.
You never
so
get shut out.
Yeah, you never get shut out from it.
And if everyone does it, then the bonus for doing it isn't much.
Exactly.
It's like 2 points.
Yeah.
Just so happens if your strategy involves that, you might get a nice little bonus.
Yes, exactly.
It helps shape your tactics, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that pretty well covers gameplay.
Yeah.
I can't think of much
There's-
else to...
Anything else, Jeff?
There's still a ton of other stuff in this game.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, it depends on how much detail we want to go into.
there's trading posts that I don't think anyone ever, or the trading post where you can just turn goods into money and
Oh, no, the China house?
Chinatown.
Yep. I mean, Paul used that heavily.
Yeah.
It's so I guess I want to touch on one thing that Paul brought up to Adrian, which was whenever somebody builds a trading house at a location, it means anytime anybody else uses that place, that person gets a money.
Yeah.
And it comes from the bank. It's not like you have to give them one money, but it makes everybody else just try to avoid that spot. You don't want to give that person extra money. And
I went for what I thought was going to be a powerful trading house strategy, and I got in the first few turns, like within 4 turns, I had a trading house on both the money spot and on the employment office, which are 2 of, in my experience, the most visited spots.
Yeah.
And then in our 4-player game, nobody fucking went there.
I went to the bank once, and I went to the employment agency once.
Yep.
And then you guys did a handful of times, but it just made it to where everybody, when they went there, they weren't going to go there for a half-ass move.
Yeah.
It was, I'll just go here to kill time. It was always, I'm going here to get as much as I can and then never come here again.
Yeah. And Paul pointed out pretty well that, yes, those are the 2 most efficient ways to either get money in the case of the bank or the employment office, get things off your board. But there's a lot of other ways to do that around the board. So if somebody locks those up like I did, and it probably didn't hurt or didn't help me that I had both of them. So it's even more incentive to just not do that and focus on doing little things around the board to get you those points or get things off your board.
Yeah.
Did we mention how like the 4 and 5 strength action are more powerful than?
Oh yeah, because
That's how you build.
That is how you build, and it's nice because you do whatever the area action is first, and then you can build.
Yeah.
So if you go to the employment agency, you can actually go there if you don't have any stores or anything, buy a store, and then immediately place it down on there. And it has 4 different spaces for stores. If you're playing with 4 players, it means that one person can get no bonus because all the 3 other ones have little bonuses, but they are still nice. Like it's usually like a couple points, a couple yen, putting down 2 guys or doing a employment action and stuff like that.
And then if you do the 5 strength action, you get a little bonus.
Yes, the first person
time.
that gets to do 5 it's usually like an import good or a couple extra goods.
3 fish or something.
Money.
Yeah, nothing that's too big, but it's also like when I was playing with Paul, he got a lot of those, and we started to notice. I was like, he has a lot more resources than we do because he was able to time it to get a lot of those 5s first. But I felt 4-player, it was not nearly as...
Well, although that's how I locked up the highest spot on the import track was because I claimed a bunch of import goods off of 5 actions early on and then claimed that top spot, which ultimately then Paul ended up with like 4 guys on that track and beat me handily, but...
That would have been a smart place to put that trading house.
Right? But then he might have just avoided that.
Yeah, well, then that would have stopped him getting a shit ton of points.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how some of that stuff evolves as we go along. There's still a shit ton of things we could talk about, little minutia and stuff here and there. I don't think we're going to gain much by going more into some of those random details. There's a lot here, but it comes together nicely.
Yes, it does.
So,
I was just gonna say, time wise too. We played 4 players and it took 2 hours.
Yeah,
and then I think 3 players it took us like an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah, and I played the 3-hour game at HeavyCon in about an hour and a half to an hour. Just over an hour. 3 player.
Yeah.
I'm not sure overall. Like I've only played the 1 4-player game. I'm curious to see again so much of that and how those things will progress is depending on the layout, and there's so much variability in that setup.
I think. If it went past 2 hours, that would start to get pull the game down. But I think as long as you get it before that 2 hour, I think it's a good length for the game.
Especially because you can at some point start to see somebody pull away with the lead, and so at that point, usually the game has ended when somebody starts to pull away. Like it triggers one of the ends, which is nice because you don't want to sit there for another hour watching somebody's.
It seems most of the time when the game was ending, it's like, okay, this feels like it was time to end.
Yeah. Agreed. So final thoughts. I'll go ahead and start.
Okay.
So aside from being super excited that it's our first ever review copy, I was pretty happy with this game overall. I really enjoyed our first play. Aside from missing a very crucial rule that cost me a good chunk of the game, I still finished respectably considering that I was hampering myself for the first half of that game, and I was exhausted. We played something else beforehand. We'd done something else. It was a long day.
Yeah, it was.
My second play at HeavyCon was fantastic. My play yesterday was fantastic until about halfway through when I noticed you and Paul were catching back up. Yeah. I got jumped out to an early lead but was not able to sustain it. Overall, though, I like the way it plays. There's a few things I'm interested to see, like how it will evolve over time, which gives me reason to go back to it, which I think is always nice. However, I was thinking about this today, leading up to the review, trying to really wrap my head around my feelings for this. And this is a game that I'm concerned a little bit that, although it's got a lot of variability and a lot of long-term replayability, I don't know if it's one that I'm going to regularly want to play. Like I don't see myself ever really turning a game down. Like if we've got a couple hours and somebody's like, hey, let's play Yokohama, I'll be like, hell yeah. But I don't ever see myself being like, dude, let's play Yokohama. Like I've been wanting to play it. Like, I want to play Indonesia right now. I want to play Food Chain right now. I want to play Terraforming Mars right now.
Do you think it's because? Do you feel like this isn't as deep as some of those other games?
And that might be part of it. Although you are thinking ahead a lot and everything like that, it's not really super complex thinking ahead, and that might not quite be deep enough for what my tastes are these days.
Right.
So that's my only real concern. Like I said, though, I enjoy it. I've really liked every play, and I don't see myself ever turning down a play of this game. It's not like I've been unhappy and I'm like, no, I don't want to play Yokohama. If somebody recommended it and I had a couple hours, I'd probably be like, yeah, let's do it. So I don't know. Just didn't super pull me in yet. It hasn't gotten me holy shit, it's terraforming Mars and we love this game and we're going to mention it every fucking episode.
I don't think any game has that ability.
Well, for
not
me,
yet.
some do.
As a group, no one game besides Terraforming Mars.
True.
So that's my kind of thoughts on it.
Okay.
Zach?
Yeah. So I really do like this game a lot, which I know the first time we played, you and Paul were like, so Zach, what do you think? And I was like, I actually really like this game. And you guys are like, what? Yeah.
And I even asked you that after your second
Yeah.
play. I was like, so are you still liking this game? And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, that kind of surprises me.
So I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that I feel, especially how the tiles are set up, changes how, like the start, at least at the very beginning, like the start of how you can play the game, like Colonists or something like that. Because I like both of those aspects of it.
Okay.
Like I said, I really do like the worker movement. I like that a lot more in worker placement.
Yeah,
but I do.
it's a solid mechanic.
I'm really happy that this still does have, for the most part, actual blocking too. And I like I was saying earlier, I felt that a good amount in a 3-player. I really felt that with 4 players, especially because I just love the fact that at one point we completely blocked you in, and you're like, all right, Adrian, you're gonna have to pay somebody.
Which that's happened in other games for me. That happened in my game at HeavyCon too. It's like, well, shit.
Yeah. I think it's also because of the blocking aspect, and sometimes you just don't have, like, I feel like there's definitely strategy in this game, but I feel like there's a lot of tactical, knowledge in this too. Of you have to be like,
There's grand strategy.
yes, but there's grand strategy, but there's also like right now it's, I can't do that right now. I should go do this other stuff real quick. That I really appreciate. Mm-hmm. I like. See, for me, I'm actually glad. I am happy, I guess is a word, that it is not too deep. That it is more like this is. I don't know, what's the weight of this game?
3.77.
Yeah, I think
Which is pretty far up there. I think it might be currently being.
I think
it's going to come down.
I would say 3.5 to 3.75 is about my wheelhouse for these. Medium, starting to go towards medium heavy are the ones that I tend to enjoy more. Before I just feel like this feels like work.
So mine says 3.36 for the weight.
Okay,
That's what it is. And I just.
Okay, which is more. That feels more appropriate.
yes,
3.36.
okay,
Yeah, just over 3.
yeah. I would say so. It's definitely not. It's not getting up there too bad. That I think it's like right around the same weight as in Energy Empire, I think, and I really enjoyed that one as well. Where you are making a lot of decisions, but if you make one bad decision, it doesn't fuck you up.
Right.
It's no food chain.
No, yeah, exactly. And then I also like that it takes less than 2 hours usually too. But yeah, overall, I really do like how the game looks, especially the deluxified one.
Oh man, the art and stuff is really good on this.
Yeah.
It's not something like, I never really dug way deep into like looking at the art on the tiles or paying attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm more paying attention to iconography.
Yeah.
And where am I going to get points and yada yada yada. But I like the way it looks.
And I like that I feel like there's a bunch of different, like we're talking a bunch of different ways you can play the game. Because there have been a lot of times where I've gone heavy into orders. Like this one, I just had a shit ton of orders, some text, but I was going for just that plus the matching up the different the countries, like for those extra set bonuses and stuff like that. Sometimes I went really heavy on the customs track or the church track and stuff like that. And I just been enjoying it. So
Cool.
yeah.
Jeff, your thoughts?
I think this is a great game. It's got grand strategy, lots of tactics in there. It's really hard to pin down. I like how short it plays for a game this complex. That deluxified version looks real good, though.
Yeah, it does.
It's hard to really complain about anything in this game.
Did either of you guys read any reviews of this beforehand at all?
No.
Okay, because it's funny. I've seen some reviews go, well, everybody seems to be really liking this game. Is it, so some people were coming, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just like hesitant towards it because they're like, why is everybody really liking this game? And then everyone plays it and like, oh yeah, I actually just really like this game.
It's not a bad game.
No,
I'll
yeah.
give it that.
But I think I'm still in Adrian's boat of like, I'm not dying to play it.
Yeah.
But if someone would want to play it, I could play it. It would definitely be daunting to learn with no one else that knew how to learn it. Teach it.
This is definitely a game where if it's your first time playing, unless everybody else is their first time playing, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You're
It's pretty pretty good.
Right on. So we all kind of like it.
Yes.
It's a review copy, and we all like it, so we must be shills, right?
Yeah.
Yep, Shield. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's got long-term replayability because I'm a shill, and that's what shills say.
It definitely has variable setup, so
Yes.
it would
Yes.
definitely have long legs if you wanted to play this game over and over and over.
If it hits that
Even
sweet
though,
spot
like,
for
I
you.
think I'm the one that liked it the most. It seems
I
like.
think that's fair to say.
I would still agree. It's not. It still isn't terraforming Mars, where it's just that insatiable hunger. Like we're zombies and the brains is terraforming Mars. But this is still, I would agree with you. What you're saying is just like if someone was like, "Hey, you want to play Yokohama?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I could do that."
Do we have the table space to play Yokohama?
Yes.
Right. Question A.
Yeah.
So if this sounds interesting to you, if hearing all of the positive reviews that are continuing to pour out
Yes.
about this game, sorry, Patrick, to add yet another one. He actually got to play it, so he's okay with it now.
Yeah.
He was getting sick of him because he hadn't played it. But if this interests you, you are in luck because you can pick it up from CSI, Card House, and places like that for like $40, which for this game
Is definitely a deal.
That's what this is well within the $40. Like feeling good about that.
And if you want to get the deluxeified one, you can go on eBay and pay $150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
But that deluxeified version.
I know it's a lot of wood.
Yeah. Deluxe Kickstarter edition, new mint in shrink, $149.99 on eBay.
It's real nice.
But yeah, so if it sounds interesting to you, go check it out.
Check it out.
That wraps up our review for this episode. There were no BGG posts, which I will blame on a combination of Zach not doing it until yesterday and me not posting about it on Twitter until today.
I blame that, really.
It's both.
Yeah. Mainly that, though.
There were no emails, and for that I blame no one but everybody who thought about emailing and then didn't.
You can just email us about random stuff. That's fun.
Remember, Jeff lives for these emails.
It's true.
You're basically like, I don't know, punching Jeff in the face when you don't email him.
Tell us about how much you like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. That's
Yeah,
what I want.
boom.
Yeah.
That's emails at milehighgameguys.com. But looping back around to an email from last week from Rob, a listener that wanted to meet up with us.
Yeah,
He met up with us.
he did. We meet our fans
We
Yes.
do.
willingly. And
I want to say he
sometimes-
flew here directly for that, but he did not. Unfortunately.
No, he definitely was going to a convention in the Rockies.
It sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah. They flew out from California. We hung out at Barrel Beer Co. where
One of
we've
our
gone-
favorite.
Yep. Game night locations. And we played like Stockpile.
Which you crushed, Jeff.
Yeah.
And everybody
Mercilessly.
really liked it too.
Yeah.
That's still I love that game because I think I've only met one person that have been like, I didn't like that game. Everyone else has been like, that was great.
Yeah, Stockpile. And it's good. It's an easy one to teach too. Like,
Exactly.
It's not too complicated.
Yeah.
We also played Grizzled, which was my first time playing with the new expansion. So I did forget about something
Okay.
that I'd played that I could have talked about earlier. I like the expansion. I want to play it more.
Yeah, you should play it at a harder difficulty than just the learning one that we were
Right.
doing.
Well, we had 4 players who had never played any Grizzled. So, but that was a bunch of fun. It was also Brian's going away party. So Megan's brother, Brian, who's been living with me for about 10 months, is now gone. He's back to Michigan to go back to school and get his master's. And so I have the house to myself, which is nice.
Walking around naked.
Totally. All the time.
Yes.
Despite the fact that I live in a garden level and keep all my windows wide open. Basically, if you look in these windows, I'm not responsible for what you're going to see.
I didn't want to know any of this.
Just remember, 10 a.m. is his yoga, and it's he likes to do hot yoga.
And I do believe they stayed out of Lodo and went to Epic after we finished playing games.
Cool.
It was very enjoyable. Sorry.
Yeah, it was really nice meeting them. They were cool people. Hopefully they have a good time up at the Rocky Mountain Gaming Convention.
Yeah.
Which, gonna have to get in on that action. It sounds pretty cool.
Yes, it does.
Indeed.
With the moving out of the roommate, it's going to open up the guest bedroom, which after I have a guest there next weekend, we are going to be moving the recording into there. So it will not be in my kitchen any longer.
It'll actually be set up.
We'll be able to actually leave things set up because we won't have to take it down, so I can use my kitchen table for things like eating and board games.
Yeah. We can just play around that. It's okay.
Yeah, so that will be nice. we won't have to spend 20 minutes on both sides of the show setting up and tearing down recording equipment.
Yeah, indeed.
And hopefully might even improve sound quality a bit. I think we're a little echoey in the kitchen. I'm hoping that it won't be that way in the
Also, I'm pretty sure that kid just
new
steps
studio.
directly above us, so it'll be a little
well,
bit
yeah,
better.
my neighbor's kitchen is directly above us, and so hopefully, and I know like because of the pattern of footsteps and the sounds that they make, I know that my bedroom is directly under the kid's bedroom, and the guest bedroom is directly under the parents' bedroom. So I'm hoping the parents' bedroom will be quieter between our recording time frames.
Fingers crossed.
Other times it might not be, but recording times I think it'll be good.
Okay.
And then next week is episode 50.
It is.
1 year. Holy shit, we made it a year.
Ugh.
We're incredibly prepared for this episode. We've got a bunch of awesome things. We're not just going to ramblingly.
We have no review next week.
No review.
We are going all in on anniversary.
Yeah, just
We'll talk about games.
stroking our own egos.
Yes, because I think our podcast is done about 100 times better than we ever expected it to be.
Yeah, definitely.
It's-
We were
Yeah.
we were
We were
thinking like
expecting-
five downloads,
Yep.
3 of which would be us.
Yeah.
Bullshit. We thought 2 because I know you don't listen
Oh,
to
that's
our
true.
podcast.
Yeah, 2. We got 2 downloads this week.
Oh, sorry, that's because I downloaded it twice.
Delete it and then download it again.
Yeah.
Well, I downloaded it on my phone, but then I wanted it on my work computer. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
no, and you know, I'm really excited for some things that are happening. You know, joining up with Punchboard Media and some of the things that are to go along with that. Getting to continue to do some live streams with Edward and Amanda up at Heavy Cardboard. You know, we had great times at Geekway, Zach and I.
Yes, we did.
I had a great time at HeavyCon.
We're going to have another great time at
Gen
Con.
Yep.
Like what? 2 months?
Yeah. It's
Two
right
and
around
a
the corner.
half months. July, August. No, yeah, 2.5 months or so.
Our giant copy of Pandemic, you might call it Pandepic,
Pandemic? Yes.
was approved as an event and sold out pretty much first day of events, which is awesome.
It
We're
is.
going to be right outside the dealer hall Thursday from like 6 to...
If you saw it last
evening?
year, it's in the exact same spot.
We are
At the
now
same time.
officially in the same spot.
Yeah, the guy remembered us. He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, you are those people who just set up a giant game and didn't ask anybody last year."
Tough.
So,
We got away with it. Hooray! Then they asked us back.
Yeah.
we might, depending on popularity, add other events the rest of the weekend, but
And we might just, fucking set it up another day and just go
guerrilla style.
gorilla again for no reason.
Well, except they're actually using those spots now. So
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see.
true.
Well, no, because Ant looked and our spot is only used on Thursday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should be hopefully good for some of that.
Maybe we'll open up a Saturday.
And now that we're actually scheduled, we might actually be able to get Matt Leacock to swing by
Yes.
and see it. I gotta
Yeah.
shoot him an email and be like, "Hey, it's scheduled. It's these times. Like
Be
this is a
there
2-month
or be
notice.
square.
I think
Please come by.
I think his hope last year was during convention hours
Yeah.
because he probably escapes as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Well, and I know like a lot of designers stuff. They set up meetings and stuff.
Yes.
afterwards.
Industry stuff.
So hopefully we can get to him in advance enough to be like, "Hey, we're gonna be here Thursday from these times."
You got 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so exciting things are in the future.
These and others.
These and others. So tune in next week for our 1 year anniversary episode. We'll have some announcements and things of other plans that are kind of in the works for the future of the show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Be excited.
be excited.
BE excited.
UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. You ugly.
What?
What? Are we not just doing cheers?
Yeah, we're
now?
just-
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
Brr. It's cold in here. There must be some toros in the atmosphere.
I didn't do sports in high school, so I don't know what you people are talking about.
That's a movie reference.
Yeah, that's totally
okay.
a movie
All
reference.
right. What are you going to pep rallies and shit in high school? Is that
yeah, I did sports in high school, so I know all the stupid cheers.
which sports?
I did wrestling and football.
Okay, football, huh?
If you want to get a hold of us, you can do it through email.
At emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can also get a hold of us on Twitter. I tweet under at MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff at Mile High Game Guys and Board Game Geek Guild 2731. Or if you have thoughts on our review of Yokohama, Zach has a thread up that you can go jump into and leave some comments. things like that.
Definitely do that.
And we'll have a thread for the anniversary episode up at some point.
And be sure to tune in for the anniversary episode because, like I said, there's going to be some awesome stuff happening. Got maybe a giveaway.
Oh, God.
And some other things.
Oh, God.
So
I know what it could be, and oh, God.
yeah.
You can check out punchboardmedia.com.
Which we are now members of. It's got
Indeed.
a bunch of awesome content from
really
other
does.
creators.
It's written, video, and audio. So
Yes.
I'm excited about the written stuff.
Yeah.
I guess everything else, too.
I'm a little biased as an
fuck
audio
video,
guy.
right?
Yeah. As an audio guy.
I hate having to see things.
Yeah, fuck that.
Those people write good articles.
They do.
Writing is hard.
I'm amazed
It
at how
is.
much they write.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I have to do that thing once a week, and I'm like, ugh.
You just want to
Right?
Yeah.
You just want to die? Do you just want to die?
It's, we always got to talk about.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
That's a good sign to wrap up the episode. So thanks for listening, everybody. I've been Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Emperor Jeff.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
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 So this one came to my forefront of my I'm gonna start over. So I became aware of this one.
I really wish you would have just been like, "Hi, we're the Malik."
A board gaming podcast.
Yeah.
Punchboard Media, where we all
Bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.